What's going on YouTube? Is Donnie B all day bringing you another something special maybe? Let's soon find out. This is a Beaver Creek Skinner. All right, there's no name, like there's no, it's the Wolverine, anything like that. There is a bunch of numbers, I just don't know them right off the top of my head. But it's a Beaver Creek Skinner, and you'd be able to find this if you looked it up. Now, this is a pretty attractive knife, right? You look at that and you can say, wow, 9 inches overall, 5-inch blade. That's a pretty good looking knife. Even the stamp isn't bad looking, right? Now, I paid $14 for this on eBay. That's 1.4. German stainless steel, which we'll find out if it's real German stainless steel pretty soon. And it's got, wooden scales that are on the small side. The finger grooves would help. However, my hands are giant, and I'm assuming if you have small to medium hands, this thing is going to fit you probably magnificently. You're going to love the way it feels, because the finger grooves are pronounced. They're really good. And if I put my finger, just the end of my finger in there, I can feel that it's actually a really nice feeling blade. The problem is my hands are so big. You know what I mean? This is 9 inches overall, and you see my hands are a lot bigger than 9 inches. So for me to get a comfortable grip on a small handle is pretty tough. That said, let's go over some of the points. We have a large lanyard hole. This is a total peeping Tom hole right here. It's got nice size. I mean, this is like checking in the showers at Porky's Revenge. The blade, it's got an upswept spine and then comes to a drop point, and I think, for me, I think that is crazy attractive. I really like the blade shape itself. As far as the finish, you can see all the grind lines. Probably I don't know if you'll be able to catch it on here, but you could see the grind lines. It's not perfectly polished, but it's $14 freaking dollars. 14. It's got the typical cheap made in China nylon sheath, because you know what, you got to keep the cost down. If if you're making German stainless steel at $14, that means your handles are gonna look at, there's no profiling. Remember that Buck Mesa I did? It was wah wah wah. It was beautiful. This is not that. The handles are on there and they're used for a purpose to be able to hold a knife. Nothing special about them. The fit and finish, we'll see, you can, right there, you see that? You see that gapping? Yep, fit and finish is not worth bragging about. I mean, I just pinched it, look at this, pinch it in, and you could almost get rid of that daylight. But the scales aren't on there too well. Worst comes to worst, I would just pop them off and re-epoxy myself. The pins themselves, the fit and finish on the pins, you can see like it's not exactly pure, it's not great, but we're talking about $14. You're talking about blade use, not good looks. This is not a collectible that you're going to stick on your shelf for $14. This is a knife that is meant to be used. So the edge, I did this when it came in, and I'll tell you what, for $14 to have a very, look at that, very sharp, out of the box shave sharp. I didn't touch this edge. This is exactly how it came. That's sharp, guys. For 14 bucks getting shave sharp, all right, so far I'm in. Now let's see if it keeps me in. Let's do something else here. All right, so we know that it's shave sharp, but is it water bottle sharp? Let's find out. Let's find out. Right now there's some poor kid in Malaysia going, why, I needed that water. It's just tap water, guys. I refilled it. All right, so here we go. Let's get a good grip on this. I'm gonna have to go get that. Hold on. All right, so I just did a knife or two ago. I did that Buck Mesa, which sliced all the way through. I mean, this one I got hung up a little bit on. Still sharp. But that Buck Mesa, when I hit it, the top fell down next to the bottle. The bottle didn't go flying. That's the difference in the edge between one and the other. However, this still cut through no problem. So sharpness test, I give it a yep. All right, let's keep going. All right, guys, so this is a skinning knife, not a chopping knife. So I'm not going to expect the world out of this as far as chopping is concerned. But with the edges sharp, I have a feeling that it should do well. My issue is, you know, how well will the grind hold up? How well it's a hollow grind. I can feel it right here. So I want to make sure that this edge isn't going to chip on me. So I'm not going to go hacking away like if it's a Natchez Bowie or the Case XX. I'm going to be easy with it. And I can tell right away that the bite just from tapping is substantial. Right? It's going in no problem. That little grip I'm having such a hard time with. It's so small. And I just have a feeling that it's going to loosen up on me. But as far as chopping, this thing is having zero chop problems. And let's check this edge. The edge looks mighty good. Now it's a Skinner, so we're not going to go crazy chopping. But it's nice to know what it can and what it cannot do. Let's see if we can cut through some of this. I'm going to put it this way so you guys can actually see it. And I'll tell you what, it's a Skinner. It's a Skinner right there. I mean, if you think that you're gonna catch a squirrel or a rabbit that's got tougher skin than that freaking vacuum cleaner hose, you got another thing coming. That's pretty damn sharp. And I'll tell you what, being a hollow grind and having that nice narrow edge, you're gonna get a lot of bite into a lot of things. Kindling, right? Let's see if we can get some kindling going here. And of course we can. So it's obviously not a batoning knife. However, can we use it for emergency kindling? Hell yeah. Do we have any warps? Nope. Do we have any, you know, defects? Nope. It's all pretty good. So here's a stump. Let's do the drop test. Now, I do a lot of drop tests because I want to see balance, you know, how it's gonna, if it's gonna rotate in the air. And then I'm going to do the short throws. And the short throws are really what tells if a scale is going to loosen. So I'm kind of eager to check this one out. First, we're going to do the drops. And it's a very light knife. So if it's not sticking in, it's not because of the tip or lack of edge. We already found that out. It's because of the lack of weight. Let's try again from a little higher. And you could see it wants to bite. It's just not. There we go. There's just not a lot of weight behind it. Listen to that. You hear that? That's scales. That's scales. So let's give it a couple little ones here. Now, being a hollow grind and being thin, I'm not going to pry with it because that would just be stupid. And I'll tell you, you can hear the looseness of these scales every time it hits. You heard the toing? All right. But as far as, I mean, they didn't pop off, so that's a good, this thing got some pretty good bite to it. So far, so good. It's not so bad. I'm looking around to see if I have something I can carve or, you know, shred down a little bit. I guess I do right here. All right, so let's put the edge to the bark, and I'll tell you what, I mean, I wasn't expecting anything less with this knife just because the way the edge is. It's profiled well for $14. I just said it's profiled well, and it's crazy sharp, crazy sharp. So let's see, we can get some nice tight ones here, and they're all falling off. There we go. Oh man, that was like Susie Q right there. All right, I'm gonna show you this one because they're falling off. I would be able to pick them up. Look at how light and fluffy that is. I got another one right there. Look at this. It is so light and airy and fluffy. This is so sharp. This right here is simple. This is simple tasking right here. So again, like always, you need to make a pit. You need to catch some animals, right? You dig your hole, you stick in your spikes. Animal comes by, they don't see the hole, and boom, they fall in, they die. Awesome. Listen to that. That's all scale. I would love to just... Now here's something I just noticed with the scales. Remember, it's $14, and they have to save money somewhere. They have to make it... The blade so far is excellent. So they have to make it $14. Notice the side with my thumb. Look at the difference in scale size. This one's thicker at the end, which is funny because it's the same size here, just not here. Whoever sanded it ground out too much on this side when they put it on, or I'm assuming maybe they have a shit ton of these laying around. They just piece them together as it goes. So my only complaint so far is the scales came a little bit loose, and they sound like they're gonna loosen a little bit more. If I didn't take precautions, I would probably lose some scales. Now, right here, this pin is, I can actually feel it. Rubbing my finger across this one, I can feel that it's there, but not like this. This is actually raised. So that's not good. However, it's $14, and I'm talking about the steel. If you're using it as a skinner, you're not going to worry about scales loosening because you're not throwing it and hucking it and banging it into stuff. That's only going to loosen by doing that kind of stuff. And if you're using this as a skinner, you are not going to have problems with these cheap-ass scales. Now, what I might do, because I actually like the shape, and if they were a little bigger, I think it'd be more comfortable, I might throw some liners in there. I think I'm going to take this apart, throw in some liners, re-epoxy it, repin it, and then I will have I think a very good knife. A very good knife. This little Beaver Creek right here, the edge is fantastic. I like the way it performs in the little tasks I've used it for so far. I've held it for a couple days just to figure out, how I'm going to use the grip and if I'm going to like it. And I was doing small tasks around the house with this. Even did some food prep. I cut some Italian sausage, and I cut an orange with it. And it was easy money. It was very, very good. So the blade itself is actually worth the $14. It's probably worth $20, $25. This and the sheath are where they really start to save their money, and that's where you can tell. However, if I use this for a skinner, then I'm glad they saved their money there, because I'm not going to need a great sheath, and I'm not going to need great scales anyway. I'm just going to use it for what it's for. So for $14, yeah, but you can't really tell unless you throw it. So let's go throw it. All right, guys, the Beaver Creek Skinner. Let's give it a toss. I should be able to hit this at 5 yards. I don't see why I couldn't, but now that I said that, oh Jesus, that sounded so bad. Oh my gosh, these scales just loosened. Listen. Oh my gosh, I think that if I throw it again, it might pop off a scale, but I'm taking it apart anyway, so I don't care. All right, this might not be a thrower. Well, maybe. As soon as I say something, it always goes that way. All right, so what I did is, the first time I threw it by the blade. The second time I threw it by the grip. The third time I threw it, what I did is I choked way down on it. Because my hands are so big and this grip is so little, I had to go way down and literally give it a toss this way. And that's where it went dead straight, and not too shabby. So let's go run our final thoughts on these scales. All right, guys, so our final thoughts on the Beaver Creek Skinner. I'm going to show you something first. You can see that lanyard hole pin right there is now pushed out. Look at this. All right? So watch. Let's see if we can move it back a little bit. No, I'm going to have to, that would have to be hammered in. But, so you saw that the scales loosened quite a bit from shock. And I'll tell you what, shock is why I do these tests. Man. So, this thing just doesn't cooperate. As far as the knife is concerned, for $14, is it worth it? Even with loosening scales? Yeah. And the reason why, and the only reason why, is because of that blade steel. When I saw that this thing said German stainless steel, I had my doubts. I am a monster Hen and Rooster fan, and Hen and Rooster uses that beautiful German stainless steel. Theirs is unstoppable, I'm not gonna lie. Hen and Rooster steel is just ridiculous amazing. So I had doubts going in for $14 that this could, you know, work even near the same as a Hen and Rooster. And what I found out is that the blade is adequate. This thing for $14 is a very good blade. Now, the reason it's $14 is obviously, as we talked about, is because it came with a cheap nylon sheath, and these scales are nothing to brag about. I am going to change that. I'm going to do my own epoxy, which means some epoxy because this thing doesn't have any. And I will probably do some liners. And I have no doubts that I'm going to really enjoy this knife once I better affix these handles. I might even make a leather sheath. I'm not sure. I like it this much. For a $14 knife, I really enjoy this thing. And it just, with a couple small things added to it or done differently, this can become a really good knife. So I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to continue to use it, and I'm going to continue to appreciate it. If at some point I break this thing and doing something, I will let you guys know. But it's doing what I've done with the Edge and knowing what I'm going to use it for. I highly doubt that I will damage this blade. I really doubt that. So far, so good. Not too shabby. I'm Donnie B all day, and until next knife.